I've learned muy cansada, which means I'm very tired.
J'ai fatigué. I am very fatigued.
Yeah.
Wait.
You too?
Not really.
Why do zombies do not eat ghosts? Because they taste like sheet.
I saw that the other day.
Oh, I got it now. Sorry.
Took you that long?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm further south than you are. Okay.
You're fatigued.
Is the Zoom lag, right?
That's true. It takes longer to get here.
Okay.
Ellen, did you mention who painted your face?
Me.
Very nice.
Oh, thank you.
You ran out of white paint?
That's why I only did one side, because I didn't have the energy to do the other side this time. So, yeah.
Well, once Joe can get working here.
Hey, Jeff, can you see me?
Nope, we don't see you. We can hear you.
Jeff, are you there?
Yep. We can't see you at all.
Well, you may win this bet you said you lost earlier.
Yeah.
I'm hooked up just like I was. It was working just fine, and then the sound died on me a bit.
Weird.
Well, you can still run the meeting though off of audio. That's fine.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen at all? My background or anything?
Nope. Nope. It's a blank screen.
You've gone over the dark side, Joe.
Yep.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Well, this doesn't make any sense. I may be going by. Jeff, I'm going to sign out. I'll sign back in. Let's do it that way.
Right. Sure.
Let's see what happens here. Sorry, guys.
You have the latest Zoom binary?
Yeah, I do. It doesn't make any sense. I can see you, but you're only like on 1/4 of my screen for some reason. So there's something definitely not cooking right here.
You're running a PC or a Mac or what?
Yeah, it's a Mac.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, he runs a Mac, so. Well, that's all right. Gives me more time to get organized on my end here. So everybody can talk amongst themselves quickly.
The social part of the club.
Yeah.
Brian.
I did.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna mention. I know I threw it in the Facebook group, but there's some upcoming free webinars this weekend. So if you haven't been out to the Facebook group, or you're not on Facebook and you want the info, I can share it. But there's like Ann Belmont's giving a talk on flower photography, and there's a whole bunch of landscape and architecture. Hunts is putting on a thing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and has some talks. And there's a different group that's also doing talks. So if anybody looking for some free webinar photography stuff, I can drop the link.
Thank you.
I'll put them in the chat here in a minute once I grab them.
Okay.
There's another group, the Mid-Atlantic Photovision group has got some talks this weekend as well. I shared it with Joe. And I could drop it into the comments. If you want to take a look, they've got about 7 speakers. It's free. They're going to be recorded so you can watch them later.
Which group was that?
It's called Mid-Atlantic Photovisions. I'll drop a link into the chat.
I used to live out east and went to that thing, and it was a big event. They brought in the names.
Yeah, this has got some pretty well-known landscape photographers involved too.
Yeah, they took over out at one of the university's convention complex. They took it over for about 3 days.
Yeah, that's actually one of the groups that I was mentioning, was the Mid-Atlantic, now that I'm pulling it up and seeing.
Oh, is that the NECCC group? I believe.
No. Hey,
yeah, Aaron Babnick, John Barkley, Sarah Marino.
Yeah,
some really good people there.
Ian, are you the administrator of the closed Facebook group?
One of them, yeah.
Because I sent in a request, but nobody's approved me. Maybe you guys don't like me, and I won't take it personally. But
did you pay your dues?
I did pay my dues.
Okay.
You want to see my canceled check?
Which reminds me,
Jeff, am I on
Brian,
now?
Pat hasn't gotten your dues yet.
Jeff.
Brian Latimus. I'm trying to think who else.
Jeff, am I on?
I can hear you. I'm looking to see if I can see you.
I can see you, Joe.
I got there's too many people on here.
Am I connected now?
Yep.
We can see you.
Well, let's get this show on the road.
I just want to double
start,
check.
Jeff?
Did everybody get a newsletter? Did everybody get a newsletter for November?
Yes. Does it get emailed out?
Yes.
No, I did not. I found it on the website.
Okay.
But I'm a new member, so maybe I'm not on your list yet.
No, I need your email address. So if you just click on the if you've got the newsletter.
I've got it. I've got the latest. I just haven't had a chance. Pat just sent me the latest link list, so I'll get it to you.
Okay, thank you. I'll be home next week.
Okay.
Steve, I've approved your request, so you should be in now.
All right, thanks, Ian.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Hope it's a fun group.
All right, can we get started now?
Go for it, Joe.
Jeff, are we ready to go?
Yep. Go ahead.
All right. So sorry for the confusion. I may end up being buying a computer here before long, the way things are going here. All right, let's talk about, do we have any new attendees this evening? If you do, introduce yourself and we'll go from there. I guess not. A gentle reminder that most everything we're going to discuss tonight is in the newsletter, which Ellen dutifully puts together every single month for us. One thing we do have in the newsletter this month is a new calendar. We'd like to be able to expand that, but a lot of the things going forward, if you have ideas or things that you want to put into this newsletter to help us develop this calendar a little bit further, please email them either to me or to Ellen, and we'll move on past that. One thing, dues are 1 day behind us. So if you're here tonight and haven't paid your dues, we're going to call the cops on you. And but the dues should be all in place. And
excuse me, I missed what they are and where we send them. I didn't see that.
It's in the newsletter. The last page.
It was in the newsletter. I believe in the email Ellen sent. Goes to Pat Lynch.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that email, but I couldn't find. I don't know. I looked twice. I didn't see it. I don't know.
It's at the end of the newsletter, the last page in the newsletter with all the info in it, Brian.
Okay.
All the information.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
That's fine. So if you haven't paid, I think Pat will gladly accept your money. Jeff, you have something you want to say? Ewing?
No, sorry.
I think it must have been a cough that brought you up.
Yeah.
All right. A Facebook update. We've had 18 members participating this month, showing off some of their work. We would love to hear from all of you. If you're not involved in that Facebook page, please look it up. I think it's in the newsletter and all the information about it. We'd love to see some of the work that you can bring to the table. Some of the stuff has, I think, just been really, really good. We'd love to see more of it. So don't be shy. Let's keep our site active and bring some great pictures to it. Love to see them. The October challenge was fall colors. We had quite a few people that submitted pictures both to me and to Ellen. Some of those are represented in the newsletter. I'll be showing some of those other ones that didn't make it in the newsletter, plus those a little bit later in the program tonight. The November challenge is called All Creatures Great and Small. I guess that could include almost anything and everything other than us humans. So we'd love to see what you can bring to the table in that vernacular. I think my wife has been an All Creatures Great and fan TV. I don't think that's where the idea came from. But we'd love to see what you can find in that category. And I would love to have those before Thanksgiving so that we can get them into the newsletter and I can put together a small slideshow. I'd appreciate it. A reminder that our theme for the year we developed is Community Spotlight. We have a lot of communities around, our communities that we live in, and maybe we can highlight some of those communities as we get toward the all-member show this spring. I think it's in June, maybe July. Jane, are you with us? I think she's the one that's going to put together a slideshow for us.
Yep, I'm here.
Is it July when those are due?
Yeah, well, they'll be due in June for July.
Okay, great. And the show will be in July, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
we'll have
due,
more information about that, sure, in the newsletter as well.
What's due now, before Thanksgiving, I think Ellen called for November 22nd, is for our December slideshow members' favorites for this year.
Favorite images, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was my next topic on the list, but thank you. So we need to get those to Jane as quickly as possible. I think she's got a deadline of November 22nd at 5 o'clock sharp. So I think she means it too.
How many images?
The rec department. I think
a maximum of
up to eight images.
Yeah.
At least 8 from each person. That'd
Well,
be quite a show
up to
for
8.
all of us, but
Up to 8.
Up. Sounds good. Don Gorski, are you here tonight? Okay. Well, he's not, but he's the individual that's replacing the pictures over at the community center. A reminder, the max size are 16 by 20 and other pictures no smaller than 11 by 14. So I don't know how to exactly get into contact with Don to get those at the community center, but he is our contact for that project. We had one of our members, Steve Weingrath, contact me about something that's coming up here November 5th, 6th, and 7th. I think it's the Mid-Atlantic Photovisions.org operation. And they've got this 3-day program going on. Steve, I think I saw you here a minute ago. You want to give us a little more detail about that?
Actually, I dropped a link in the chat, and Ian, while you were offline, actually, we were talking a little bit about that. So, but I put the web link on the chat group.
Yep, and I added the one for hunts in there too. So everybody should have both.
Has anybody been to or attended one of their conferences in the past? I did go to that site today, and there's some unbelievable photos on there from their past events. So it might be something if you have time to jump in here on the 5th, 6th, and 7th. I do think you have to pre-register to be able to attend it. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, you do, and you'll get a link. They're going to send them out tomorrow, and they're going to record all the sessions, so you don't have to watch it this weekend if you're not available.
I have not done theirs, but because of out of Chicago, Angie is architecture photographer, and she's always at the out of Chicago stuff. So I've seen a bunch of her talks and met her. She's great. And Sarah Marino, landscape, some macro. She's also, I mean, they're all really good photographers, but I've probably seen half of these people give talks in the past. And they're all really great.
All right. Another reminder, we have a field trip coming up in December. I think it's on the 11th. It's a Saturday. I think Jesse and Jane are going to be leading the charge on that. It's a little bit early, but either one of you want to mention maybe what time and where we're going to meet, or have you figured that out as of yet?
Well, I don't know. I think probably around 7 o'clock at night. I will send a map to Ellen, but I think that we'll meet around the City Hall in Cedarburg, which is kind of in the middle. There's adequate parking, I think, around there. And Patty's going to do a presentation on photographing Christmas lights, and she'll be there to lead with us too. So Patty or Jesse, do you have anything to say?
The only thing I know, Cedarburg was doing road construction on the south end of town. So I don't know people coming up, if they can come up from 57 there or not.
No, it's all done.
It's done.
Okay. I didn't know if it was done or not yet.
Yeah, and we should probably want to be there for the blue hour. That's when you get the best type of lighting for the, for photographing landscapes and stuff. So,
so that would probably be a little earlier.
Time change, so it's going to be dark by like 5 o'clock.
Oh, well, I don't know if people want to come that early, because then you're talking probably 4-ish.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
that should be a pretty good event. They'll have the pretty good show. All right. All right, Jeff, you want to speak to us about anything about the PSA or WACO before we get into the show and tell and the rest of it?
The WACO competition, the finals for the first, second, and third place awards and the best of show awards will be on Saturday, starting at 11:30. Hard to know how long we're going to go, probably till 1, 2 o'clock. There was an invite sent out to everybody that entered the competition. If somebody hasn't signed up, you need to sign up to watch, and you'll just be able to watch. You won't be able to interact at all. So you can sign up for that and watch the judges pick the medal awards. And we're hoping to show the honorable mention awards afterwards. And that's really all we have going right now for WACO. PSA chapter is meeting in a couple of weeks. I think it's 2 weekends from Sunday, and I've forgotten who the speaker is. But if you're interested in coming to that, you need to be a PSA member first, and then you can join the chapter, which is, I believe, $5 to join the chapter. And then you'll be able to join the meeting. It's held 4 times a year, November, January, March, and May is a field trip. So, and so that's about all we have for those 2 things that I can think of.
And again, you can always refer to the newsletter. There's some good information consistently in there about PSA and WACO. All right, let's move into show and tell. We have 2 ladies this evening, Patty and Laura. Which one of you would like to go first?
Makes no difference to me. I can go.
Well, I guess I'll choose Patty.
All right.
All right, Patty, it's all yours.
All right, let's see if I can share my screen here. Okay, so I think I'm there. Can you guys see like the newsletter or something?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, all right, let me figure out where I'm at here. Okay. I thought I had everything all lined up. It's hiding under the bar there. That's why I couldn't see it. Okay, I'm trying something different. I'm on Flickr because I didn't have time to move my pictures from my other computer onto my laptop. It's a long story. So so I'm on Flickr, and I just decided I would just show pictures from hang on, let me get, all the people are over my picture. There we are. So I've been going out to do a lot of flower photography this year, and I just kind of filtered out the labyrinth garden, and I'll just show however many pictures I've got time to show. Somebody holler at me when my time is up because I have no clue about time. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. All right. So hidden in some little nooks and crannies among the trees as you enter the labyrinth garden, I found these little rocks that someone had painted Bible verses on. I thought it was, you know, interesting. I thought they were some kind of mushroom at first when I saw the white part, but they turned out to be painted rocks. Then I'll just kind of blast through these guys. So just a bunch of different shots from the garden there. I'm getting a little bit better at capturing bees, like actually get their eye in focus once in a while. I'm kind of like a zinnia fanatic. I like photographing them. They're cool. I like dead plants for some reason. It's just me.
So Patty, we're using macro lens.
Yes, I have a Nikon 105. I was using a Tamron 90mm that was without image stabilization and was like an older model. It's not the current one that Tamron has. And I realized that, it was an okay lens, but it was frustrating to use, and I was missing a focus on a lot of shots because, the image stabilization and everything. So I got the 105 from Nikon when they have their refurbished sale. So I got it for about a third off of the regular price. So it was a pretty decent value. And their refurbished lenses are every bit as good as buying one new.
Did you use the tripod for those?
No, I shoot handheld. I can't get the angles that I want by using a tripod. I just end up kicking the thing to the curb anyway. So I shoot handheld mostly.
How about flash? Did you use a flash?
No flash, just whatever ambient light. If the sunlight was too bright, I would use my shadow to to shade the plant so that it wouldn't be too washed out.
Good job.
But I'm pretty minimal. I have probably two or three reflector sets. One that I lost that I never found, but I know it's here somewhere. And I take them along and I never use them. Old habits die hard. I just try to find, interesting things that appeal to me. And I look for color, I look for light, I look for textures. This is one of my favorites. This little hornet was looking at me from behind a leaf. I like bugs. And they have like a whole row of, I don't know if they're crab apples or choke cherries, whatever. They have a whole row of these trees as you walk up to the garden. Yes, a few of these are older pictures that I took with the Tamron. I think I'm done here. That's it.
So what the last one, this one, what kind of aperture you use?
Pardon?
This one.
Yeah, Joe.
How big aperture?
Aperture. Doesn't say. I have no idea.
No, they didn't show up aperture.
No, I usually use most of the time I use like one of the lowest, or like maybe around f4 or somewhere, or yeah, I would say probably around f4 is where I'm comfortable at. figure out how to get out of here. Stop share.
I
right.
can see a whole wall of, I mean, I love your flowers. I like especially because they're tall and thin, I could see a whole wall of those. At some point, I may ask to send some of those, or to it's not buy, sell, trade, I know tonight, but I'll contact you later on, Patricia, okay? So,
All right, yeah.
Okay, Joe had to drop out. He couldn't hear and he was having all sorts of problems. So Roger, do you want to take the meeting over, or do you want me just to continue on? As you're so prepared. You're muted, Roger.
You muted, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an agenda or anything. I don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I can handle it. He gave me a little list here quick, so, and I sort of know what's going on. So, okay, Laura, you can show your images next.
Okay, I just have images from my trips to Arizona.
Okay.
Where is this?
It's the bottom where in green where it says share screen.
Yeah, I did that and something weird came up. Oh, here, okay, I got it, I think.
Okay.
I think I have it, yeah.
Yep.
Wait, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do the slideshow now. These are all like wild horses and just things from Arizona.
Okay.
Oh, man, I think it started in the middle.
Now you can just hit probably the stop and then hit the.
Yeah, so sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
There we go.
What month was this?
What?
What month was this?
All different months. I go about 3 or 4 times a year.
Okay.
In the spring is when you get the flowers. These are 2 stallions fighting. That's a big baby. He was about 1.5 years. Those are cactus wrens. And a gambrel quail. These are wild burros. They have green herons out there and blue herons. This guy went walking through my dad's yard when I was there 2 years ago in February. These two are fishing together at the Salt River where the horses are. We do a lot of hiking when we're out there. Yeah. Okay, stop screen sharing.
Two
That
quick
work?
questions. Where in Arizona was that?
Okay, so we go to Surprise, which is northwest of Phoenix, but that's mostly in mid-Arizona. Near Mesa is where the wild horses are. The burros are in like the middle area of Arizona, up by Lake Pleasant.
Okay, is that near Gilbert?
Gilbert is, yeah, it's not too far from Gilbert.
Okay.
I think
And what
Gilbert's
lens?
near Scottsdale, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah.
And what lens do you use?
I've got a Tamron, what is it? 60 to 600? No, it's down to 4. It's the 1 to 600 millimeter.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
Very good picture.
Thank you. It's fun. It's a great hobby.
Great. Well, thanks, Laura. The next thing we have is tips and hints, which I'm going to talk about very quickly, how to understand histograms. Let me see if I can get this to work right. I haven't tried it on this computer. So. All right, what do you know? Some things actually can work. So everybody gets a histogram when they're taking a digital photo. And basically a histogram is a graphical representation of the image data, the brightness and darkness of the image. It maps it out. It's a great way to know if you're getting a good exposure. And it's a better tool than using the display on the back of the camera. Basically, it shows your highlight area, your shadow area, and everything in between. And it basically stacks up all the brights. It stacks up like poker chips. And it stacks up every different brightness from highlights to shadows. So it gives you a good idea when you're overexposed and underexposed. So if I shot this little panel here, you've got your highlights, your shadows, and your blacks. And you could see that here's the blacks, here's the midtones, and here's the highlights. So it gives you a very good idea where everything would normally be when you get to a regular photo. The same with colors. Now this gets a little crazier. Gray is generally always going to be in the middle. Here's your blues are showing up here. This actually is a purple. Yellow, you can see the yellow streak right here. And it basically stacks it up, and here's the green. So you can see it stacks up the different brightnesses of green. So it's a great way to be able to tell how your colors are looking. So when you have a normal exposure, you can see everything generally will fall inside the histogram. If you get overexposed, everything is going to be piled up on one end, and a lot of times you'll have a warning indicator on your histogram that you're overexposing, especially if you have blown out highlights. As you get more overexposed, everything generally piles up on this side, the right side of the histogram. Now, what you want to watch out for is when you blow out your highlights and all you get are some midtones and hardly any shadows. And you could see that the shadow area is all the way up here where normally your grays would be. Your highlights are all blown out here and there's nothing showing up here. So what you really want to try to get is a pretty even distribution, but also more to the highlight side than to the shadow side, because you want to be able to see into your shadows. And that's why a lot of times you do your high dynamic range photography. So here you can see as we overexpose how the histogram will slowly shift. And if you start to underexpose, you get the opposite happening. Everything starts to go over to the left side. And as you get farther and farther over, everything collapses down, and you can tell everything on this end would basically be this area here, which you're not going to get any detail whatsoever. And here's 3 stops under where you hardly have any detail. So that gives you a basic idea of how it works. So the trick gets to be interpreting your normal exposure, which basically you want to be able to get everything from one side of the histogram to the other without blowing out your highlights. So generally when you get overexposed, you're going to blow out your highlights, and anything that's white or real bright, you won't have any detail there. Underexposed, you actually pick up more detail, but you don't want it so dark that you start to lose your detail in your shadows. So you try to play that game of adjusting either your f-stop or your shutter speed to try to keep everything all in the range of what your sensor can see. Now, there's one trick with all that is all the different camera sensors have different dynamic ranges. Nikon and Sony have a broader range, so they work better in high contrast type scenes, where the Canon cameras, at least their mirrored cameras, have a lower dynamic range, so they tend to need to do high dynamic range photography a little more often than Nikon and Sony. So a couple of things to watch out for. Let me get back to it. It shows more of the... No, 1, 2, 5. Okay, so what you want to watch out for is you want to shoot so that you're shooting towards your highlight area, but you don't want to blow out the highlights. So you don't want everything going up here where you have a warning. And I usually have my highlight warning indicator on so that if I blow out highlights, you'll get a warning indication that highlights will get blown out. Now, you can also get that on Chrome, on Sun, anything that's really bright or that's going to be white that doesn't have detail, you will get that indication. But you do want to keep as much as you can towards the highlight without blowing out the highlights. That way you get good shadow area and you're able to recover from it. So I just thought just a little talk of the histogram and what you see, and we'll constantly talk about it, but I thought it was something to bring up and it was something we could go through real quick. Does anybody have any questions on that? I know a lot of you understand it, but
I was going to say that I thought this was a a pretty cool tool when I got my DSLR. But now that I got my mirrorless camera, I found that I can set it up so I can actually see that in the viewfinder before I take the picture. I don't have to take a picture and then review as to whether the histogram was the way I want it to look.
Right. Yeah, and that's really nice with the mirrorless cameras that you don't have to, do that. I know with my mirrorless too, you can show it right in the viewfinder so you can see everything and see whether you're blowing the highlights out or not. So, any other questions, comments? Just a quick talk on histograms. Okay, I guess the next step would be the main program for the night. Now, I am running into, no, I didn't quit. I'm running the brand new version of Lightroom and Photoshop. And let me tell everybody that sometimes jumping on the first version is not probably the greatest idea in the world to do. Actually, Lightroom's working pretty well. Photoshop for me I am having problems with it. So what I think I'll do is let me just share my screen once more real quick, and I will show you the image, the raw files that I sent to all the people that are going to show how they process the image. And let's see here. So I sent actually 4 different files. It's an HDR file. This is the normal exposure. That's the 2 stops underexposed. And that's 2 stops overexposed. And then I also sent an HDR. So if they wanted to work just with the HDR file that's already not processed, but combined together. So this is what they had started to work with. So who wants to go first? Tony, did you want to?
Sure, I'll go first since I had lots of difficulties. First of all, I thought they were HDR images, but when I tried to run them through the merge or whatever program, because they were different sizes, it wouldn't let me do it.
They shouldn't have been different sizes. They should have all been the same.
Well, pixel size. Yep. They were different.
They were all identical. They're all 82.
Yeah.
8256 by 5504.
Okay. Oh well, that's kind of problems I have. So mine is real quick and simple.
Yeah, let me stop sharing so we can see your stuff.
Oh, wrong one. Okay, wrong one. Okay.
We're gonna play Minecraft, huh?
Oh yes. It's a great time sink. Okay, so this is the original image.
Okay, all we're seeing is Minecraft right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I have, I'll get rid of that. Okay, let's try again. I'm trying to share. Oh, here we go.
Share your first, the first one.
There we go. So
there we go.
So I'm just going to open it up with. Gee, I had it opened up with. Okay. Yep. Okay, so anyway, that Okay, that was, I guess, the original image. So the first thing I did was
Okay, we're
I
still
cropped
just
and-
seeing the files on the screen. 20.
you're not seeing the bridge?
Nope, nope.
Nope.
You're not showing your desktop. You're just showing just one window. I think.
I am showing, this is my desktop right now. And it says I'm screen sharing.
When you went to screen share, you picked just the app to screen share, not your whole desktop, not the whole
Yeah.
monitor.
Oh,
Just pick
okay.
stop screen sharing and then use the first selection that you get so that it just shows your, picks your whole screen. So stop screen sharing.
Apparently I've lost Zoom. Even though it says it's open.
We're still here.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Join a meeting. it
Okay.
says.
Here, I'll tell you what, I'll stop it for you.
Okay.
Now you should be able to find it.
All right. Now I have share screen.
Yep, and then it's the first one where it says share desktop. Don't pick
I
any
do
other
not.
one.
I do not have a share desktop.
Or share,
I have whiteboard, your screen, and my folder with the images.
okay. So then it would be your screen. Okay, now we're seeing your desktop.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Do you see?
It's a learning experience for everybody.
Did you? Yeah, and then. Okay. There, you didn't come up in order. I don't know why. So there's the original image. You see it?
Yep.
Okay. So then first thing I did was I went through and cropped it and resized it. And then after that, I applied brightness and contrast adjustment, which didn't change it a whole lot. And let's see. That's number 3. Where the heck? So then I tried a black and white. And I thought, that's not too bad, but didn't quite like it. So then I used graduated filter and turned it into a Jeff Klug right video. And I was going to try to replace the sky, and I tried for hours today and couldn't figure out from the manuals or what to do. And my Photoshop tutor is in Mexico right now, so I couldn't get any help with that. So that's all I was able to do. Sorry.
Okay. Well, good. Interesting.
Now, can you bring me back or bring you back? Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll
I
go
don't have a
next.
list of who all was doing it, so.
I'll go
Jim?
next, Jim, sure, if you wish.
Okay.
I want to follow that up because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my screen to work too, so let's give it a try. Let's see if we can get the right thing to come up here. Okay.
Yep.
Hopefully you are seeing that. All right, let's start here at the very beginning. When I first started this, I wasn't trying to get the HDR image. In fact, I looked at this image and I like generally what a lot of people are doing with the newer cameras now is they are exposing for the brightest parts, which this is not overexposed. And then they use the rest of it because there's so much dynamic range, as you were saying, in the newer cameras. you can bring up a lot of the stuff that looks very, very dark. But when I picked my photo by accident, I hit this one called HDR. I didn't see that I had done that, but I don't think it would have made much difference with the way that I went about doing this. So I don't know if I can, let me see if I can get here. When I looked at this thing, obviously this looks very, very dark. And you could certainly go through and pick up the shadows and brightnesses and so on. I had noticed when I did this that there were a lot of things in here, like the brickwork that was in these different areas that I really liked. There are also a lot of distractions. So the first thing I said to myself is, okay, what's really important in this picture? If I were looking at it saying, what caught my attention? And it's really this whole area in here. Because I like the bridge. I like these as sort of setting it off as a foreground area, but there is a lot of stuff in the way, but that's okay. So the first thing I did is I said, let's just crop it down. So this is simply that picture cropped down, nothing else done. Then I said, okay, let's go into the generic settings for Lightroom. I generally always start in Lightroom and I do all my beginning work here because it's totally non-destructive. You can change it. It's a great place to start. And all I've done is just move the exposure sliders. You can see those over here. They're a little different. Highlights I brought down, shadows I brought up, played around a little bit of the whites and darks, that sort of thing. Did nothing else to it other than the basic settings. By the way, I think other people might notice this too. You might see a little blur here. I don't know if that came from the HDR image, but when I zoom in on it, it's actually sharp. So I don't really know what that's coming from, if that's just the way I see it on my monitor. Anyway, the point that I want to make is that most people will stop after doing the generic work on their picture. This next one is in Lightroom. I've done nothing more than take and done micro adjustments. These are micro adjustments. Now I'm playing with the new Lightroom. I literally put it in here today. But one of the beauties of this Lightroom, it's a little easier to show you what I did. The first thing I did is I came in here and I said, I want to add a little bit of magenta to the sky. So all I did was took a brush and put a slight bit of magenta in here, took it out from over these, whatever these candle things are. And I took that out. I went a little further now on the next one and I said, okay, I want to change the, let me get rid of this text so you don't have to see that. Up here is the blue sky. I added a little bit of blue to the blue sky. Okay, not a lot, just a little bit. And then I started working on these posts. As you can see, what I've done is I turned on some lighting effects for the posts. Again, that's all I'm doing is playing with turning these on to make them look a little bit more decorative than they did without those effects. And I did it to all of them, so you can see all the sides are done and so on. I darkened down the sky a little because I didn't like that it was too bright. I played a little bit with the corner right down in here. I thought that was a little bright and that was kind of dragging my eye over there. And then the last thing I did was, if you left it like this center section of the dock looks dark to me. And so I lit it back up so that it would now draw your attention. So it sort of brings you into the photo up through the bridge. Okay. My next workflow is to always take pictures and send them into On1. I like to do sharpening there. I like to do their vignette. And it doesn't change the picture very much, but there's a little vignetting and some sharpening. And here's the step that I think really made a huge difference. Again, I'm back in Lightroom. I love now to work with some of the profiles that you can get. And it's always, if I'm kind of stumped on a picture, where do I want to go? What do I want this to look like? I start clicking on profiles. And I have certain ones I like. This is the one that I picked. This is nothing more than a profile that somebody else had put together. And you can see what happened here. And I'll move down a little bit so you can see what happened. This person does some really dramatic changes of the generic settings to the picture. They also do more masking to the top and the bottom of the picture. They darken down even more than I did. I think a lot of us stop before we're really done with the picture. We just kind of go to a certain point and stop. Now, I know it's getting a little dark, but I wasn't really real concerned about that yet, because I know I'm still going to come back and touch it up. But now the parts for me that got to be a problem was I didn't like all these posts, and I don't like this red, it looks like a towel of some sort that's over the fire extinguisher over on the side. So now there's really no place to go if you're going to try to get rid of that stuff other than Photoshop. You have to go there because it is the best at removing all of these distractions. When you go there, that's what you get. I see that as a huge improvement over what we had. We're now looking into the scene. We're not blocked by all the things that were in the way. That probably took about 35 minutes to get rid of all these different things. And I know the tools have gotten really good in Photoshop, but even so, there's different ways of doing it. And when you play with different ways, you'll find some work better than others. I wanted to make this that if you zoomed in on this and you wanted to take a look at this, the water, you couldn't tell that I did a lot of Photoshop work here. Now that I've told you, you might obviously see it. But what I actually had to do was I took small sections of this and kept moving it over till I got it to the edge. And the reason I did that was if you take Photoshop, and I'll show you a little clip of what this kind of looks like. This was using Photoshop's best tool for getting rid of things. This is content aware. But then you have to tell it where do you want to remove, or sorry, what do you want to put in place of what you're removing? And there's not a lot of places you can select from. And so you get weird artifacts in there. Like you can't take this section to replace because it has the darkness of the bridge. Here you've got the darkness of the bridge from the top. So really you're only taking the small section here to replace, here, 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 a couple of other places. But now it gives you, let me see if I can move that. You get some weird artifacting that takes place in here. And that makes it a little harder to go back and fix up. So anyway, if you do get to that point where you start getting rid of it, it takes a little more time. And that's a 35-minute correction time to get rid of all these pieces and reconstruct everything that's in here. Well, then when I saw this, I'm actually okay with this already. I'm not upset with what I see, but I thought, okay, just for the heck of it, let's send it into Luminar and let's change the sky. And I literally went and picked just one sky. And this is what I got. When I started looking at this, I said, the only thing that upsets me now is that this part of the dock doesn't, from my point of view, match with the sky. Luminar has adjustments for that, which I did work with. The problem is it works great within this water area, but is not good at taking care of this dock area. So again, I'm back in Lightroom. I simply come in here and I just put in a little bit of a magenta color into this area so to reflect more of what the lighting conditions would be. So if I were to end here, this would be fine with me as a picture that I would be very comfortable with. I think it kind of brings all the colors together. I would even be okay with the original sky. I'm not upset with it. I just think this might have a little more to it. So anyway, that's kind of what I did to bring the whole thing together.
Great. Really interesting. Always fun to see what people do with my photos. Let's see. So we got that one. A person done. Who wants to go next? Anybody? Don't all raise your hands at once. Okay,
I'll go
Bernard,
next.
you want to go next?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, that was a tough act to follow. Then I didn't spend 35 minutes. Okay, so this is the original, and what I did was try to do some effects and things that I don't normally do with photos. So it's new techniques in Photoshop of it was what I did for most of these. So this is like a vignette. This one here was done in Camera Raw, and with the DNG. Yeah, the DNG opened up in Camera Raw, and I was having a lot of problems with Camera Raw because it seemed like it was not responding very fast. So there's a lot of things like over here, this thing I would have liked to have gotten rid of and do more with some of the edges, but it did kind of give a different perspective of this. And this one here, I darkened a little bit and tried to get some distractions like that poster, and there was something on one of the chains that I was trying to get rid of, and yeah, and this one here I used a gradient and also went a little darker, but it didn't bring out a lot of details, but I think it kind of gave it a different perspective on lighting. Now this one here is trying to do some various layers of this, which and masking, which also didn't really turn out too good, but and again, in terms of like taking the picture, but just more or less giving a perspective of the shapes. And this one too was about the same thing with more layers on. And of course I was getting some strange results over underneath this bridge and over here on the left side of it. So, and I think that was another original. So I didn't go too fancy with it, but
okay, yeah, great. Well,
can I ask you, those first couple pictures I really like, how did you do the effects with the colors that you did with the curving colors in the beginning? That's really nice.
That was a vignette. The one in green, I'll go back to it. This was done in Camera Raw, and I think it was doing the curves. And this one too, I made it into a black and white and was using the curves and the vignette. On
yeah, I like the silhouette part of that.
Yeah, and this one here, I was going to do more, but for some reason when I threw a command, that it took so long for it to respond that I've got 5 or 6 commands ahead of it, and then all of a sudden it would do it. But because I was trying to do something similar to this a little further and try to clean up some of the weird things on the edge, but I guess I got too frustrated with Camera Raw and went back to the regular Photoshop.
Sure.
Yeah, those are really nice. I'd like to see a little more of how that's done. It's really nice techniques.
But Jeff, if you turn over your last HDR after you edit the one and convert that to black white. That would be very interesting picture. If you can try.
Yeah, I was just adding a bunch of layers to things, and trying some new techniques that I was trying to teach myself and with the Photoshop. Because normally I just take a picture and just try to lighten it up and clean it up a little bit.
So when you talk about adding layers, can you explain that a little bit more? I'm not really understanding adding layers.
In Photoshop.
I mean, I know you can add layers, but
yes. So I was just adding the layer and then working with either the mask or the mask and doing an adjustment layer with these, and then just adding more to them.
Layers. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, Chris, we'll do you last. I've got either John Wiley or Ian. Whoever wants to go next.
I can go.
Yeah,
I don't even
why
know.
don't you
Is
go?
John
I'm
on?
not sure if.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
John's on.
I see John. I don't know if he's there.
Oh, oh yeah.
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now, John.
All right. I've had computer problems, so I didn't get it accomplished. So.
Oh, okay. No problem.
I have to rebuild a computer.
Oh, gee whiz.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, Ian. We'll go with you then.
Okay, hold on. You should see the original photo right now. Lightroom.
No, we're seeing
Which one did it
your text
share?
messages.
Like an email.
Why is it
or
on
email.
that?
I know. I think it's your text messages.
Oh, yeah, it went down there.
Messenger.
Hold on.
Had a lot of computer issues tonight.
It's not the first time I've had Zoom do that. It's really weird. But okay. Now
Yep,
you should.
now we can see Lightroom.
Okay, so this is the original image. I didn't do a ton. I appreciate all the pixels Jeff gave us because basically I cropped in on the middle and just kind of cleaned it up. So here, it's the final one. This is it. Loads higher res piece. My computer. This is
Yeah, those high res takes a little while to render.
There we go. Well, and with Zoom, this is why I have a new laptop coming, Jeff.
Yep.
So yeah, so I cropped way in on this one. I upped the shadows, up the whites, dropped the highlights, add a little texture and clarity just to kind of sharpen it up a little bit. I barely touched the tone curve. I did a little bit of color grading adjustments, but not a ton. And that was about it. To show you how much I cropped in, this is the tiny little bit. So this is how I do a lot of my I always say I heavily crop my flower photos. This is not necessarily out of the realm for when I do my flower photos. I will severely crop my images sometimes. So to me, this was the most interesting part. The pillars were cool, but I couldn't get over the box, and there's like a shirt or something here on the left, so my eyes just kept getting drawn to the centerpiece. So I was just like, let's just go there and get I thought a really nice flat looking image with a lot of lines there. So that's what I did. Nothing too crazy on this one. Oh, there's a dust spot. I cleaned up a dust spot.
Yeah, I didn't remember having a dust spot, but I guess I did. Okay. So let's see. Chris sent me his photos. So Chris, you want to, let me see if I can find
Peter's
them.
on the list as well.
Oh yeah, Peter.
Peter too.
Why don't you do Peter first? Peter, why don't you go first?
Okay.
Sorry about that. You're right on the very top of my list. I missed you.
All right. Let me try this. Well, let's see. I never shared my screen on the Mac here, so it's causing me whiteboard.
Are you getting a permissions problem or preference problem?
Yeah, I am getting that.
Okay.
This is a big exclamation point. It says open system preferences.
Right.
Allows Zoom to share your screen.
Yeah, you need to give Zoom permission to share your screen. So if you open your system preferences,
yep,
go to security and privacy.
This is under general, right?
It's well,
No,
it depends.
Privacy. Okay, I'm here on privacy now.
Yeah, security and privacy. Go all the way over to privacy.
Hold on here. Privacy, yeah.
And let me, generally full disk access is the one that works.
Okay.
The easiest.
I got
you
full disk
scroll all the
access.
way down to the bottom and you see zoom.us. You need to check that, which means you need to unlock to make changes. And check the zoom.us. Let's see. Just gotta.
Hold on here.
Yeah. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else.
Jeff, screen recording might be the issue because down at the bottom, there's in screen recording, the very bottom one is Zoom, and it may not be checked.
Right. Yeah.
This is a recording and it may not allow access.
It will not be able to record the contents of your screen until it is quit.
Yeah.
Right.
So just quit and reopen.
Yeah.
Wants me to leave the meeting.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about doing that. It'll be fine. You should be able to share now.
Well, it says leave meeting or cancel.
Hit cancel.
I did that before.
You don't need to start over. It should have everything else working fine. It just may not show up in our recording.
Oh, there it is. I see something.
Here we go.
Okay. Well, if you see, do you see the my pictures then?
Yep. We see DxO Photo Lab.
Yeah, that's my only picture platform I use is the DxO Photo Lab, and 5 just came out. You sent a bunch of DNG pictures, and then you sent an HDR DNG, and the HDR DNG does not. It cannot be processed. So I just took a one of the 3, which I took the middle one here, I think. And I noticed there's a TIFF file, which meant I actually went into the NIC collection. But I think before that, I think I went to the here. I get these things. These the things blocking my presets. I think I went to there's a HDR realistic here that I might have used. And then I might up the midtones or shadows. I don't remember. Well, there was this other one I used here, which was the HDR the Nick collection has an HDR thing here, and that generates a TIFF file, and then you work off the TIFF file. And they created the TIFF file. Now it's supposed to pop up a, there we go. Well, anyways, takes a little bit out of this Mac here.
Yeah, I haven't used that program for quite a while. Yeah, it can strain a computer, especially with the size files I gave everybody.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should have. Okay. Well, anyways, I may want to skip this if it's going to take a while. It won't let me do it, huh?
Oh, you know, I've been getting that problem with Nick filters. I usually have to go and force quit it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it's taking its time, but
for some reason, I have to do it, and then when I rerun it the second time, it runs just fine.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I mean, my result is something like this. I think. What was the final result? Is it this one here?
I bet you that one, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Well,
says
anyways,
Nick HDR.
and I also cropped it, so there was some. If I go back to another one here, there was this poll here that I just cropped it in a little bit more. So. I don't remember the exact sequence, but you can see the highlights I turned down a little bit, and then the midtones a little bit up. Left midtones alone. And for some reason, I turned down the shadows. But if I, yeah, I mean, if it was, yeah, it depends on your liking, but you know. Also, the other thing I tried was the black and white, which looked pretty good. Which is that looked okay. Turn off smart lighting. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I never thought about trying black and white with that one.
Yeah, the black and white looked okay. Let's see what's the DxO. Yeah. I turned off some of these Clearview Plus, and then the other one was the smart lighting. I mean, for color, it might make a difference. With black and white, yeah, I didn't bring this out that much, but you go back to the this one here. No, that's not the one. Anyways, you know, the one that you saw previously, where it was, I don't remember. It was maybe this. This is
maybe the one to the far left.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, these polls are still so. No, it's not the cropped one. It's uncropped.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Anyways, that's what I did more or less. I just, I think I modified this. Oh, the D&G. No, I can't remember now. I mean, I think I've written over this one here. If I did undo this one, I don't recall what I did to undo. Yeah. Well, anyways. This one got modified, and there's probably a way to. No, I can't undo that one. Okay, well, anyways, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I had a, you know, this is what I use as the Photo Lab. I spent maybe 10 minutes on it, so not a whole lot.
Yeah. Interesting. I hadn't seen Photo Lab before, so interesting to see how it works.
Now, if I can find out how to.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right.
many times when you do processing, I know that I don't always think about black and white, but your choice to go into black and white there is really a smart idea because it really gives it a whole different look just by going into black and white.
Yeah, I tried it, when I first got the file a couple weeks ago, I went into black and white, but I said I could present that, but I went to do the color. I should have saved the black and white version earlier. But well, we saw it today.
Yeah. Well, good. Okay. Chris, do you want me to show yours that you sent me, or do you want to just show them on your computer? We can do it either way.
So why don't you show them and I'll make a couple comments.
Okay. No problem. Let me just find it here. Right.
Okay, the first thought I had was the same as Ian had, that just zoom in on the center of it and make a different picture out of it. That's pretty straightforward, and I really didn't change anything. I did take the 3 images you had in the 3 exposures and combine them in HDR in one of my programs, Photo Matrix. So that's the HDR image that I created, and then I just, that's original one of yours that I just cropped in. So the next one.
Okay.
Then I decided to change it into black and white, and then I put a colored sky in it just to be different and got rid of the flames to sort of a different view of the scene. And the last one I did was basically just turn the sky black and white and made the whole thing black and white. And I really didn't change the much of anything else. The HDR brought up all the midtones and the shadows. So those are the 3 things I did. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
How did you create the black and white?
I just went to, I was in Photoshop CS6, and there's in the adjustments, one of the adjustments is just click black and white.
Okay.
And then you can play around with the contrast in black and white a little bit. But that's basically all I did.
Okay, so it's Photoshop. Thank you.
You can turn saturation down all the way.
I still have Photoshop CS6 from many years ago.
You could turn saturation down all the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
That would be one way to do it too. Sure. Okay. Oops. So just to remind everybody, let me see if I can go to the. This is the HDR one, and it's basically, if I go to the develop section, it process this was HDR in Lightroom, and it processed it out. So you could see actually the standard HDR is that, and then just hitting automatic, this is what you get processed out. Let me show you what I actually ended up doing. That was my final one. I got lazy. I didn't feel like taking this one out. I probably will one of these days because it does sort of block it, but it's a pretty tough one. The rest of the stuff was pretty easy to clean up. I do like the idea of seeing more of the texture in here. I went for the sunrise look. So there's a lot of different ways that this could have been done. But let me show you how I did some of this stuff. I started this way and darkened it down just a bit. Brought in some texture and clarity and dehaze. Not too much. And I don't start with my vibrance right off the bat. I do generally go into, and I actually don't remember how I got to my final result, but knowing, let's see, and I have no idea how well this is going to work. I've been having problems with a lot of stuff with this computer, but let's see if I can make this work. But I go into Nik filters and we'll use the color effects, except that for some weird reason, just like I have to do it twice to make it work. I will really love to figure out why Nik forces me to do that, but if I do it the second time, it works just fine. So the first thing I do is detail extractor, which pulls out all the detail in the stones, the rocks, stuff like that. Generally, I turn it up, the contrast, and of course, this is where I hit my saturation a little bit. Generally, I will look to see, and I might also have done brilliance and warmth and just warmed it up a little bit more. Each time I end up doing this, I do it slightly different. So, of course, it was cropped because I wanted to get rid of a lot of the stuff that I didn't want. And of course, then you can readjust because it's a new TIFF file. You can readjust it a little bit more. Then I undoubtedly did a linear grad. And just darkened the top part, making it warmer to get that nice glow to it. Not too much. And then person could subtract out, I think probably luminosity range and just get that, yeah. So that it doesn't, so that it eliminates the pillars, because all I really want to do is darken the sky. Plus I wanted the flames to show up a little bit more. Let's see. And with the sky, I turned down the clarity a little bit. And if I had wanted to, I could change the sky color a little bit more. But I think that's for as quick of a demo. Then it really is a matter of going into Photoshop. And I don't remember how long I spent in it. It really went pretty easy getting rid of the chains and the balusters. And those were the things that bothered me the most. So far, so good. So I just use the healing brush and basically go through sections of it, follow the chain. So that's the nice part with Photoshop, is it does a pretty good job. Now I'm really rushing because I don't want to spend a lot of time with this, but you can see that it does a fairly decent job all by itself. Even with these balusters, it's sort of amazing how well it can work. The trick is to sort of take sections of it at a time so that you can back up if something doesn't work right. And I'm doing this just with my trackball. Normally I do it with pen and tablet. But you can see with using Photoshop and how smart and this is content aware fill. Now this is the only spot where it sort of messes up a little more, and that I would actually go in and do it a slightly different way. But you can get the basic idea. And when things don't work, I just go to the my mind's gone blank today. Just can paint it out. Although I end up lining up all the lines to make that work a little better. Same with the sign. You can just fill it in and it makes it go away. A lot of times, sometimes. That's a fire extinguisher with the red cloth. As you can see here, it says fire extinguisher. Basically, I just took this area here, cloned it in with the cloning tool to get rid of that. The cloning tool down here, the healing brush for this stuff. So you can do quite a bit. And then like here, I didn't like this concrete, so I would take and use this stone to fill in. And with the clone tool, it works pretty quick. You can just get rid of that. So there's a lot of different ways to do the same stuff. I gotta admit, I like the idea of the monochrome. Oops, went a little too far there. I also did cleanup of anything I didn't like in the stones. Especially like stones here. If you, I would see a lot of that kind of stuff and I would get rid of that. And just keep working at it and working at it. I probably had a half hour, 45 minutes in total. I can't remember what I did to actually get, I like the results I got with my final result with the sky. I'm not gonna save this because I don't need that. So it's a matter of, you know, what you like. I gotta admit, I like the idea, and I'm going to get to mine. I like this, but I am curious to see what is the let's see, everything pretty much. I use silver effects to from Nick to do my black and white conversion. And I think black and white could be something pretty interesting with it. I might even try some of the old style looks. And that's what I sort of like Nick for, is it does have a lot of different classic styles, old style. That one's not too bad. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting closer. So what I end up doing with Nick, and you can do this with a lot of different ones, they have the different color filters, and you can actually scroll through and see which filter actually gets you what you want to see. Well, blue sky certainly isn't the one. The green or the yellow might not be bad. And then you can sort of scroll through and get it till you get to a point where you like the looks of it. And then you can adjust your brightness, contrast, and structure. If you want to tone it, I almost think maybe I would do just a slight sepia tone. Most of this stuff I would end up doing right in Lightroom, because I like the controls there a little better. And the nice part is I can pull out some of the shadow detail, darken the highlights a little bit. I can adjust how much of a sepia tone by adjusting the vibrance. A lot of times I turn my sepia tone down just a little bit. And that gives you sort of an interesting looking monochrome. So that's sort of how I go about it. Each time I do it a little differently. So I don't pay attention on how I do it a lot of times. It's just let my mind go and follow what might work. So great, we got everybody. Yep.
Jeff?
Great, any questions?
Yeah,
comments?
Jeff, did we want to show the 7 photos for the PSA Club showcase?
If you have them.
I emailed them to you earlier today, but or this afternoon.
Oh, well, I haven't looked at emails. Okay, give me a minute. Let me see if I can find them. Probably wouldn't hurt.
Hey Jeff, question for you. When you get commercial assignments, if you need to create like the 40 or 20, pictures, so what's the average time you spend to just estimate, you spend to for the Photoshop or Lightroom?
Well, it all depends on what needs to be done. The quicker I can work, the better. Generally, I try, if it depends whether I'm what needs to be all done. If it's something that I can run through Lightroom, I will spend maybe 5 minutes on each image if it's something that I can do simply. If it's stuff that gets to be complicated, I can spend up to 5 minutes to an hour on an image. when I work commercially, I charge by the hour.
Okay.
So for me, if it takes longer, I just charge my client more. I don't just have a set rate. But it takes a lot of explaining to do with your customer, because they a lot of times only see when you do commercial work that they just see you shooting it, not all the processing and everything else that goes involved. So you got to do a lot of explaining to say, yeah, it may only take an hour or two to shoot this project, but it can take a lot longer to process it. So I usually, depending on how many files are needed and what's all needed, you know, I charge accordingly. That sort of help?
Yep. Great. Thanks.
Sure. Okay, let's see. We need to share. Okay, so these are the 7 images we sent in, that Ken sent in for the PSA Club Showcase competition, which we will be judging probably in December at our December meeting. The first one was High Waves by Roger Krill.
Jeff, you need to share your screen.
Oh, it didn't share yet. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it shared. Yeah. Okay, so the first one was Roger Krill's High Waves. Be on Obedient Plant by Jesse Buchholz. Motocross Rider by John Wiley. Picnic Area by Jeff Ewig. Glowing Horns by Jane Hurst. Watercolors by Ian Dickman. And Elephant by Pat Lynch. Ken, do we want to tell them how we came up with the images?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank everybody that participated. We actually had 9 people that participated. Some of the participants had more than one image, which made it a little bit challenging because we had to first go through and pick out which which image we wanted to use from them. And so there were 3 of us. It was Jeff and Jane Hertz and myself. And so the 3 of us went through and with the ones with the multiple images and reviewed those images and made the selection from that. And then we did have one where there were several pictures, and when we chose one, we didn't have a single image that more than one person looked at. So we ended up we did not use those images. That got us down to 8 people, and then we just did a process of asking which photo we wanted to eliminate from the group, and then we eliminated the last one, and then we came up with the final 7. So we really appreciate getting 9 images this year. Many times we don't get that many images, and or 9 people that participated. So we thank everyone who did participate. We wish we could have used 9 images, but the showcase is only for 7. So next year, something we'd like to see even more people participate in, and I think next year, I think it may make sense just to have everybody submit only one image, It was, it just makes a lot more work on our end when we have to be the one to pick out which we think is the better image. So I think next year we'll just go with one image only. So
yeah, there were a lot of good images. So even though your images didn't get picked, it was tough to decide down to these 7. So we appreciate everybody that did submit, and start saving. What's hard is, I know a lot of you don't get us images probably because this pops up the first thing in September, and it's hard. It's a very short time frame, and we maybe have to start thinking about maybe asking for them before the end of next season to get ready for the next one. That way we wouldn't have to rush to get these all figured out. And I want to thank Ken for really putting this all together, because I was not very healthy during that month that we were doing this, and I didn't have the energy to be able to go through it. So I'm glad Ken could put this all together for us and get it submitted too. So,
yeah, and last year we took first place. So
yep.
When do we know the results on these guys?
Oh, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, it'll be March next year before we know, because we'll be judging. They get judged between November and I think March, isn't it? Ken?
Yeah, I think so too. So all the clubs that are participating in the competition have to judge this. So so that's why they spread it out over a couple months.
Yeah. So it's judged by all the different people in all the different clubs. We send all the results in to the coordinator. She totals it all up and then figures out a first, second, and third for individual people in the images and for the club. So we'll see how well we can do this year. I think we've got a really strong set of pictures that are going in. So we'll see what happens. Are you interested in entering more of this type of stuff? We do have more things we can enter in PSA. For the longest time, we were doing the sports
PJ.
one.
Yeah, the PJ.
PJ, yeah. We sort of stopped that one because the rules started to get very strange, and the coordinator wasn't doing a really good job at making it easy for us to understand things. So we dropped out of that one. But they do have nature ones, color open ones. They have all sorts of different competitions that we could enter if we're interested in entering. It does take, though, if we enter, a commitment from people to submit images. It's usually 4 times a year. We couldn't do it this year anymore because all of them have started, but we could, if we have enough people interested, we could do that the following year with PSA. But we would certainly need, it gets to be a lot of work coordinating it and getting enough images to do it. But
maybe we could all maybe agree on just one extra category and start that way.
Yeah. Yeah, we could either do a nature one. There's, I think, a general color one. That's probably pretty good. They do have a monochrome one. PSA has a lot of stuff to offer. I'll look at the different ones and see which ones we might be willing to enter. We might even be able to start in the middle. We wouldn't certainly win anything, but we could at least get a taste of doing it. So I'll bring some ideas at the next meeting. So we're right around 9 o'clock. Anybody have anything else?
Jeff, disregard my email to you this morning about the fact that I might not make tonight's meeting, so you don't have to bother me. It worked out okay.
Yeah,
It's one
looks
less
like you're
thing you have to read.
Yep. No, I saw that email. I just,
Oh.
I did emails up till about noon, and then the rest of the afternoon, I sort of stopped. I had a project I was working on, so
Okay.
never checked.
All right.
I didn't see Ken's email in the afternoon.
And Joe is not going to, we'll save the, you know what, he can put the fall colors on the website also for us so that we have.
Yeah, because there was no way for him to get that to me tonight, so.
Right. So, but
yeah,
some of them
well-
are just fantastic, you know,
Were they?
so
Oh,
I tried to
Well,
put
we'll-
as many, yeah.
yeah, we'll show him next month if nothing else.
Well, that's true
So
too. Okay.
Next month is December. Yeah, that's the December meeting.
Oh my
Normally
God.
our pizza party.
Yeah, our pizza.
Christmas party, right?
In our group photo.
Yeah, we'll do a group photo too. So
Make sure you
everybody
have a
will have to
slide.
turn their cameras on
Yeah.
next month, and we'll do a group Zoom shot again. Actually,
With
that's a lot
pizza.
easier than me setting up all those lights and everything and the chairs and the whole work. So just a little
Yeah.
trickier to try to come up with how are we going to display it. But
Yeah, but the
so
names
next-
are easier too. So the names
Yeah.
are.
yeah, everybody's names are there. So
Yep.
it works out pretty well. So yeah, next month we have the favorite slideshow. I don't know if Ellen, do you know if we have people for show and tell?
Yes, we do. But unfortunately, I didn't bring my newsletter
Right.
with
Oh,
me,
it should
so
be
I
you,
don't remember.
Peter.
But yes,
And I
there
know
are
which one's
people.
Bernard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have no idea what tips and hints is going to be, but we'll look and find out.
That was Patty. Patty's gonna
Yes.
do
Oh,
Christmas
Patty's
lights.
doing that's
The
right. Thank
Christmas lights. Yeah.
Yep.
you. Yeah,
And that's the
Christmas
field
light
trip
stuff.
to is Christmas lights in
Right.
Cedarburg.
Great.
That I
And then
remember.
we'll be undoubtedly, if I get the images, we'll be judging this PSA club showcase. We'll be emailing out everybody a spreadsheet that you can write the numbers in. You can either do it electronically or you can do it by hand and then scan it in and send it back to me and I can send it into the gal. So
Okay.
we'll see it. I haven't gotten the images yet, so I imagine she's still putting that all together because the deadline was the end of October to get them in. I think that's about it. If anybody has anything else.
Nope.
Good luck with
Sounds
Wacko
good.
this weekend.
Yeah. Yep. Wacko this weekend. So anybody that wants to join us, if you didn't get the link, contact me and I'll send you a link so that you can come and watch it. It's 11:30 till about 1 or 2.
I'll join.
So other than that, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight and have a good Thanksgiving and we'll see you next month.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next month.
Okay.